As the holidays end and we enter our third year of the pandemic, there is so much uncertainty. Christine is here with tips to help us navigate hard times. Christine, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
So let's just start right out. How can someone, what are your tips for someone who's going into the new year? As the holidays end and we enter our third year of the pandemic, there is so much uncertainty. Christine is here with tips to help us navigate hard times. Christine, thanks so much for being here with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about how someone can navigate going into this new year. What are some tips you have?
Definitely. I think one of the biggest tips I have for navigating the new year is to practice a formula I like to call E plus R equals O. I learned this from Jack Canfield's Success Principles. And E plus R equals O is that the event or the experience you're having plus your response will create your outcome. So you reverse engineer what you want to have happen for you in the new year. You decide what outcome you want. You decide how you will respond to the things you're going through in your life. And then that will kind of help you decide how you're going to deal with those experiences, those events, those challenges.
There you go. So, and we talked a little bit about this earlier. Women have so much responsibility and they probably are feeling so overwhelmed. What advice do you have for women who are just feeling exhausted this time of year?
I think the number one thing is really self-care, which I think we hear about a lot.
We do.
But I think women have the tendency to take on more than they can handle. You know, we want to be perfect. We want to make the holidays really special for everyone. And sometimes we don't remember to have boundaries. We don't think we can say no. And so sometimes asking for help, asking for what you want and just saying, hey, I need help with this, or just letting it go. Like, it's not going to be the end of the world if your house doesn't look Pinterest ready. You know, last night we had a family Christmas party. There was plastic tablecloths and no decorations. We didn't even put up a tree this year. Nobody cared. I think sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves. So really it's just simplifying. And then making sure you're taking care of yourself and having some boundaries.
And it's really okay to say no. It's really okay to let those small, simple things go that we may think are a huge deal, but they're not.
So it's about giving ourselves permission, just permission to say no and permission to honor what we need and what we feel in the time rather than having to give all of ourselves to everyone else.
And so speaking of the holidays, we touched on this a little bit. What can you say for those people who are maybe missing the hustle and bustle, Christmas is over, and they feel like, well, what am I going to look forward to? What advice do you have for those people?
So I think it's one of those things where just because this holiday's over doesn't mean we can't focus on what's to come.
I love that.
Make every day a holiday if you have to.
Make every day a holiday. That's beautiful.
You just focus on how you can have more gatherings, more get-togethers, create what you want. I think that sometimes people live for this big holiday season rather than realizing that life is giving us holidays throughout, you know, and there's always ways we can create what we want and recreate the same experience of get-togethers and gatherings and festivities without having it to have to fall between November and January.
Make every day a holiday. I think that is absolutely beautiful. So we go through these highs and lows of life. That's life. It is what it is. What are some tips you have for creating a support system that gets us through these peaks and valleys?
That's a great question. I think establishing healthy relationships so you have that support system is really key, and it does also go back to that E plus R equals O. You know, and asking for what you want. I think a lot of times we think we can't ask. We want everybody to be a mind reader. We want our husbands to be mind readers, our children, our parents, our spouses, our friends. Like, we think everybody should just know what we need, know what we want, right? And we don't want to be vulnerable enough to say, I'm struggling. I need help. I need you to be here for me. I need a shoulder to cry on. I need somebody to sit and binge watch Netflix with me, whatever. You know?
That's great advice. And you just have to be communicative, love it. Christine, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
We've loved having you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.